want to thank the band. Look, when I volunteered to help Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, I told them, I said, send somebody else to the big places, somebody that needs the TV coverage. I said, send me to the country. I know where I belong. Look, this is in your hands. Our adversaries are clever. For example, I was just talking about it. They could have contested more races down here, but they didn't do it because they want your turnout to be low. They want you to go to sleep, to think you don't make a difference. And you may make more difference than you ever have. Raphael Warnock is a senator today because of the turnout in South Georgia, and you know it. And John Ossoff, you made his career. All the other votes are important, but look, there are 7 swing states that are going to determine the outcome of this election. And it's disgusting and hard to understand, but they're all tight as a tick. And if you show up, as you did in 2020, we'll carry Georgia. And if you don't, we probably won't. You know it. I know it. Don't feel the pressure. Just go out and empower people. Here's what I want you to know. The congressman said some nice things, but we did set an 8-year record for jobs in America. We did have the only period since before World War II when the bottom 20% of the electorate in income had their income go up in percentage terms even more than the top 20%. That had not happened. Everybody said, oh, inequality was getting worse. It was, except in the 90s when you let me have a chance to build the economy from the bottom up and the middle out. Now, since President Biden and Kamala Harris have been there, they're going to give you the biggest number of new jobs in 4 years in American history. And our Republican friends say, well, you should ignore that because of inflation. You got to vote them out because of inflation. Trump was there. We had no inflation. Well, it's kind of hard to have inflation when the economy collapses. COVID broke the economy. You remember COVID? He said it would never reach America. Then he said, oh, it'll just be here for a day or two and it'll be gone. No big deal. And then 1 million people died, more or less. This is a choice between going back and going forward. That's true. But it's also a choice about how we live and how we think. If you want somebody who's great at blaming and dividing, we can't compete with Trump. I mean, it's all blame, brag, and divide, right? Sun came up this morning. I made it happen. Only I could have made it happen. Then this horrible storm hits our neighbors in North Carolina after Florida. But because by the time it got to North Carolina, it hit where they normally never hit, in the western part of North Carolina. Hurt in Asheville, a place I love. I've been there many, many times, and all the places around. Well, Asheville is a Democratic town, but the counties around it are heavily Republican. So it didn't take even a day before a Republican member of Congress claimed that the deep state had figured out how to take control. of this terrible storm and make sure it only hit the areas where they have. I thought, we wish, right? I mean, give me a break. Just because they would do that if they could doesn't mean we would do it if we could. Nobody believes that. But they have to do it because it's what they do. They blame and divide and build resentment. Kamala Harris wants to turn the page and give us an opportunity society that we have to build together. That required us to work together. That requires us to be fair to each other, to treat each other decently so we can take advantage of this. I am telling you, I have spent a lifetime now working on economics. It took me 10 years when I was governor to help my state get over the farm collapse in the 1980s. But when I ran for president, and every month we were first or second in the country in job growth. But I didn't do it all at once, and I didn't do it alone. We worked at it. You know, most things that are worth having require working for. And I don't care what anybody tells you. Cooperation is better than constant conflict. Building is better than constant blaming. And resentment and revenge never amount to much. I'm not a kid anymore, in case you hadn't noticed. And I think very little about the people that I beat. But I think a lot about the people I work with to lift people up, to create jobs, to start businesses, to promote peace, to give children a better chance. That's what this is about. I'm telling you, Hillary's known Kamala Harris for 30 years, but I've only gotten to know her well in the last few years. And I've gotten to know her husband well because he's a friend of my son-in-law, who's a world-class guy. I believe, and I would not be here if I did not believe it, I believe she has the ability to be a really fine, effective, transforming president. And we need to give her